mom. Come on through.
She's coded Oppenheimer, if you can't tell. She's coded Oppenheimer. We love that.
There's Barbie and I'm giving Carol Baskin right now.
Oh, wow. Yes, here, take this. Oh, no. One of these is like the sideways ones, right? Didn't one of these fold? Did I move that over here? Well, I guess, North Carolina coming through again.
Yeah!
Yeah, rest in peace to Senior Dell. And in your hearts. Oh, who's number 3 in our hearts?
Is this good?
Great.
Great. Hi.
How are you?
Hi. I'm doing okay. I've been better though because my grandma actually just died, and we were best friends. That was less than ideal.
Well, R.I.P. to Grandma.
And I'm feeling pretty anxious today because I haven't been on stage in like nearly a decade. Because performing comedy is really scary because it's so emotionally vulnerable. So I decided instead to talk about my recently dead grandma and read her eulogy instead.
She's a lovely looking lass. She's smoking a J?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spark went up for Grandma tonight, baby.
I have some note cards here tonight, both for myself and also some for you guys, just with like, ideas.
Yes, our lines, as they were.
Sure.
Oh, wow. This one says my
They're
name.
color coded too.
So these are for me, right? Because it says my name.
Yes.
Oh, he's got his own.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No one's ever come this prepared. I really
All right.
appreciate it.
So take turns reading the questions on the cards. Please note that they are numbered.
You don't have to read this part. You can just start at the next one.
Anything? Oh, okay.
I just thought it was like helpful for reference.
Do I go first?
I'm going to start.
Whoever has the highlighted one is going to go for. They're color coded and highlighted.
Mine's
sorry.
highlighted.
I'm not starting.
Rachel, that's a beautiful dress and it looks great, especially on you. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and why you chose to wear it here today?
Wow, thank you so much. That was such a nice thing to say, and it's such a thoughtful question. So this dress was my grandma's, but it's also what I wore to her funeral. People always told me all the time how much we looked alike, and so on the morning of her funeral, I was like, oh shit, I have to get really dressed up for this. Because if I show up to her funeral looking like a mess, people are gonna be like, wow, Lillian was really ugly. And I couldn't do that to her, so I had to show up looking great, and same for tonight. I want everyone here to be perfectly clear on one thing. My grandma was super hot.
Shout out to the folks.
Keep it up for the hot grannies. My grandma, both of them beautiful, strong women. What was your grandma like? Could you describe her a little bit? Maybe if you have a succinct analogy comparing her to, I don't know, let's say a movie character.
I think that was my question, but I can't pronounce succinct, so I'm glad you asked.
Another great question, by the way.
Chock full of them, apparently.
I can't believe you thought to ask that one, because it's so funny, because now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the 1997 animated film Anastasia, directed by Don Bluth.
It's a frightening.
I would have guessed I was older, honestly.
Just like off the cuff. No, 1997, which is the year that I was born. Also.
Wait, 97?
Yeah.
I would have guessed like 8, 9. Keep going, sorry.
But anyways, now that I'm thinking about it, I really she's kind of similar to the Grand Duchess of Russia, or Grandmama, as she's known.
Did Russia back then?
Yes. Well.
That's on the next cue card.
But Anastasia was my favorite movie as a kid, so I really grew up thinking that everyone's grandma was this like very regal, ruthless Russian lady with a British accent. And my grandma really sounded like that because she spoke 6 languages and was taught English by a British man in Germany. So she had the weirdest accent. But if you want to know what my grandma was like, basically the Grand Duchess, but a communist and with 0 filters or boundaries.
Do you want to take this one, Justin?
Well, Rachel, that analogy to the beloved cult classic was incredible. Super funny. Can you tell us more specifically about some of the struggles / accomplishments of Grandma?
Well, first of all, she was a Holocaust survivor.
That is weird.
I mean, yes, we can take a move for the survivor.
I don't know,
The
like...
surviving was good.
Yes.
Okay, anyways. But yeah, everyone of that generation was just built different. So
Better than booing, also.
Yeah.
Yes, would have been nice.
But believe it or not, I wrote some stuff down that she accomplished. So she survived diphtheria, Siberian winters, tonsillitis without anesthesia, became the sole supporter of her immigrant family at age 17, got married, brought a drugstore with her husband and turned it into a successful business, raised 2 kids, went to school as an adult to get a master's in philosophy, graduated valedictorian, created an exhibit on displaced persons camp, and wrote a book that sold internationally.
Yeah.
And she lived to 88, and it literally took what doctors describe as a 1 in a million cancer to finally take her down, and I'm still not convinced that she's not coming back.
What do you mean she's not coming
No,
back?
just this, the questions.
Wait, so you,
It's not on the cards.
All right, she's coming back. With all the many impressive accomplishments, she must have had some high standards. Was it difficult to line up to her expectations?
Wow, these questions are really so great. You guys are really great at this.
we come prepared.
Yeah, she definitely had very high standards. I think anyone who grew up with an Eastern European grandma would relate. Like, she would call me out of the blue and just ask, "Did you get a haircut, or are you just looking disheveled?" And I was like, "Are those my only 2 options, Grandma?"
Oh, wow.
Or like right after she died, I was reading through old messages she sent, and I actually found one that was super sweet. Okay, get ready to say "aw." How proud I am of you. Your beauty, your sharp wit, your charisma. Do not forget that you deserve a handsome young guy to be worthy of growing together and developing a lasting relationship. I love you a whole bunch. Love, Grandma.
Are you sure she didn't say young DILF? It was young
Well,
guy?
I thought that it was very sweet as well, but here's the thing. I didn't realize until later that this email was sent while I was dating someone that she didn't like. And she literally, and I know that she didn't like him because she used to call me every day and ask me why I was dating, quote, that ugly old man. So if you reread the email, it's actually super passive aggressive. Do not forget that you deserve, in all caps, handsome, young guy to be worthy of growing together.
Ageist? She ageist?
Well, to be fair, I never said that she was wrong. The way that I'll put it is that let's just say that everyone makes mistakes in their early 20s. And my mistake was that I dated a recently divorced 34-year-old battle rapper for 9 months.
Was he good?
You know, I didn't get around to making any mistakes in my early 20s. I really shouldn't.
There's still time,
Nah, I'm in the late 20s.
but you can still make mistakes. There's always time for that.
If anybody can think of one, let me know. Sorry, not to interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, you can just like the next question on the card.
You want me to do it?
Well, yeah, because I'm not at the right queue, I don't think.
Yeah, so what were her thoughts on your current boyfriend of 2 years plus? Was she a fan? Did she like him more than the battle rapper?
Thankfully, she was immediately a very big fan of Nate. She thought we were really well matched because he's super easygoing, like unfazable, which is just how her husband was, and I'm more, let's say, phasable, like her. And the way that I knew that she liked Nate so much is because she told me verbatim, I always hoped you would date someone decent looking like your brother, but I never thought you'd end up with a hunk.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, why does this compliment to my boyfriend need to include an insult to my brother? It was not necessary.
I didn't know you had a brother.
Okay, now you know.
Is he
my
on?
last name is pronounced Schwartzbaum, so
Damn.
lots of things we're learning
We're
about.
figuring it all out. We're figuring it all out. Those beta blockers that I didn't take.
You had mentioned previously that she had, quote, 0 filter or boundaries. Can you tell
End
us?
quote. Don't forget the end of the quote.
Thank you for ending the quote. Can you tell us more about that and provide examples, ideally in the form of funny anecdotes?
Yeah, so she read 50 Shades of Grey and wanted to discuss it with me. She asked me, why do people like this? It's just porn. And I told her it sounds like you understand exactly why people like this. But basically she had 2 settings. One was saying ridiculous things, and the other was insisting she would never say something so ridiculous. So I started to write down her iconic quotes, such as, they played this horrible romance movie today at the senior center. I forget what it was called. Some notepaper? Or like last Thanksgiving, we had the whole family together, including my siblings and my grandpa on the other side. And at one point, my grandpa whispered to her at a grandpa volume that everyone could hear, when do you think is a good time to ask about great-grandchildren? And she immediately responded, Jerry, I don't know what you're implying, but whatever it is, I'm too old for it. I love that joke so much for so many reasons, but like especially the implication that the way that you make great-grandchildren is by two grandparents having sex. And then also that was her immediate thought. Like the first thing that came to mind.
How long were they together?
Well, this is the grandpa on the other side.
Oh, wow.
But they became friends, which was kind of cute. They were
Friends.
relatively
Just
assisted.
friends.
Just friends.
Yes. She liked to joke otherwise, but he did not find those jokes funny. She was like, maybe, and he was like, no.
Wow.
Is it eulogy time?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Do you want us to get off stage? Do you want it for yourself?
I mean, do you want to be here while
Yeah,
I
I
read
do.
my grandma's eulogy?
I do. I want to hold up like
Okay.
this.
Lillian was not only my grandmother, but also my very dear friend. As much as I can and do talk about her endlessly, I was still unsure of how to speak about her today. For one, my grandmother has repeatedly, if not constantly, told friends, family, and really anyone else within earshot that Rachel doesn't just write well, she is a writer. And that line has set up a fair amount of pressure for this speech. The other issue is that those aforementioned writing skills apply almost exclusively to writing comedy, for which funerals are really not an ideal venue.
Luckily, stand-up comedy shows, by the way.
Finally, I have found it extremely difficult to write anything without my muse, editor, critic, and unwavering supporter. I have realized that this speech is the first thing I have written in my lifetime that my grandma will not be reading, but her voice and her edits are still very much in my head. My grandmother was both my very dear friend and in many ways my soulmate. For one, we both wore a woman's size 7.5, so we were quite literally soulmates. Ironically, I'm very certain that she would have hated this joke. Rachel, be serious. The commonalities between us were endless, from our love of writing and philosophy to our carefree, calm, and easygoing personalities. Wait, sorry, that should say our very carefree, calm, and easygoing partners. My grandma and I shared a sense of style and fashion and even a wardrobe. She often told me that we were cut from the same cloth, and also one time told me that you and I have so much in common that I feel sorry for you sometimes. I, on the other hand, have never once felt sorry. My grandma was brilliant beyond words and brilliant with them. She was resilient and creative and was endlessly and intensely passionate. Just as my grandpa David could be described by his warmth, my grandma Lillian could be defined by her fire. And that's not to say that Lillian wasn't also incredibly warm, just that I never once found a subject that did not inspire a burning curiosity, intellectual discussion, and passionate response. I vividly remember one instance a few years ago when I had applied and been rejected from a Fulbright scholarship program in Malta. I called the family to share my disappointment and was met with tremendous support and sympathy, but it was only when I shared the news with Lillian that I got the immediate response of, "Those idiots!" and a follow-up email with the subject, "So what?" Opening line, "Oy vey." Lillian's fire lit up every room she walked into, and that presence made my life so much brighter. My grandma was such a force of resilience that I've been struggling not to imagine getting a call from her this afternoon or tomorrow or later next week, when she's had some time to rest and recover. This illogical belief stems in part from a promise, or more accurately a threat, that she had made several years ago that she would haunt me. In fact, she even gifted me a hyper-realistic drawing of herself that I was instructed to hang in my apartment. From this drawing, she said that her spirit would supervise any boys that I brought over, and if she didn't approve of them, she would scare them away. It was only a few weeks ago that she redacted this promise, stating that she loved and trusted my partner Nate so much that she no longer needed to supervise. Or rather, she actually said it was because I was, quote, no longer dating shitheads. But I knew what she meant. I was honored to finally have found a partner that she approved of, but as always in conversations with my grandma, I argued with her. I told her that she should still haunt me a little bit. Rustle some leaves or flicker some lights on occasion. Stop in and say hello. She replied, okay. Hauntings aside, I will dearly miss her stories, her wisdoms, her dramas, and every other one of her antics. Sharing these memories of her makes me so happy, yet I'm still hurting without my friend. When I was very young, my grandma would treat all such heartaches with the same ritual. She would have me gather the hurt throughout my body and channel it into my pointer finger. She would then touch her finger against mine and tell me that my hurt no longer belonged to me, that she had taken it all and taken it on as her own. Since she has passed on, I have felt that collective pain return to me. Reminders and manifestations of every loving sacrifice she had taken on my behalf through the years. And I'm happy to return this favor to her, to take on all of the pain and grief for her, so that my dear friend can be without pain and finally rest. In her final weeks, she tried very hard to convince me that grandmas are not meant to last forever, and to truly honor our relationship, I would like to debate her on the subject. Wherever I go, she is with me, in my wardrobe, my bookshelf, my laughter, my memories, my mirror, and most importantly, in my writing. Her muse, her edits, criticism, and unwavering support will be with me always.
Give it up for Rachel! And her smoking hot, smoking granny. Let one up for Grandma today. As you know, we love grandmothers here at Grandma Sophia's Cookies
Oh my
Productions.
God,
Thank you. That was amazing.
Incredible.
Please.
Incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, seriously.
I went to
God bless.
visit my grandma today in Brooklyn, and she's getting up there. She tells tales.
She's
when
grown
we get
5
older.
inches the past year, believe it or not.
She told me she was complaining about a family member who will go unmentioned because I'm not here to put a shit